Hey boys and girls, it's Mr. I here today with another lesson. Today we're going to talk about a famous artist named Henri Matisse. He's a French artist and he was born in 1869 and died in the year 1954, so that was a long time ago. A little background information on Henri Matisse. He was a famous painter, and as he got older, he wasn't able to paint anymore, and what he did was he decided to use his scissors instead. When he got older, he just wasn't able to stand and paint, and it was too tiring for him, and he had to stay in his bed, but he still wanted to make art, so he decided to use colorful papers and his scissors, where he could sit comfortably and do that. And it was actually really awesome because he started making what's called a collage. And a collage is where you make an artwork using paper. And it could be any kind of paper. It could be construction paper, newspaper, tissue paper, wrapping paper, any kind of paper. Today we're going to be using some construction paper. I have all different colors right here, and we're going to cut those and turn those into abstract shapes. Okay, and I have an example right over here of what a final product could look like. Now, obviously, yours doesn't have to look like that, and it just depends on what you have at home. So today you're going to need some scissors, some glue, some kind of paper, and maybe some markers or crayons or ink pens or something to make marks with later. Now remember, shape is one of our elements of art right here on our list. Remember, we have 7 elements of art that we talk about in the art room: line, shape, color, value, form, texture, and space. Okay, so today we're going to be using different shapes to make a collage. So gather up your materials and let's get to it. Okay, boys and girls, so I got my scissors, my glue stick, and my paper. So what you need to do is use a pencil, a pen, a marker, a crayon, anything that you want to use to draw with. I'm going to use this marker right here, and basically just have fun with drawing shapes. Now, you remember from the art room that there's different kinds of shapes. We have geometric shapes, which are shapes that are a square, a heart, a circle, oval, crescent, rectangle. These are all our shapes that we know that have names. So those are geometric shapes. You can use these shapes for your collage, or the other types of shapes are shapes that are called freeform shapes. Okay, these are shapes that don't have a name. It's just a shape that I invent. And remember, a shape is just a line that connects back to itself. So there is no name for this. I just used my imagination to make it. They can be rounded like that, or they can be straight lines. But remember, these are just shapes that I'm creating with my imagination. So you can pick today. Do you want to do geometric shapes or do you want to do freeform shapes, okay? Or you can use both, so that's up to you. So those are my examples right there. And then I'm going to use my blank sheet of paper right here. Now, I'm going to take my first piece and I'm just going to invent a shape on here. Remember, this is from my imagination. I'm just taking a line for a walk. I have no idea what this is. It's just a way to make a fun shape. Once you have the shape that you want, then you can go ahead and cut it out. Once you cut out your shape and you're happy with it, then go ahead and you can start arranging it on your paper. And you can have as many or as little as you want. You could also repeat shapes by cutting this out and then retracing it on another sheet, and you can make a pattern. So that would be up to you, using your imagination. So if I wanted to do that, I could take this same shape, lay it on here, and trace it, and create one just like it, and we could start making different patterns. Okay, so go ahead and make your first shape, any shape that you want, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue making mine. All right, boys and girls, so we made our shape collage today after the artist of Henri Matisse. Remember, he's a French artist that lived a long time ago. He was a famous painter, and he ended his career being a collage artist, making some really cool artworks out of papers, colorful papers. So basically what I did after I made my shapes is I used some markers to add patterns to the background to make it a little more interesting. And depending on what you have at home, you could use paint, you could use crayons, you could just use ink pens or Sharpies. Just make sure you ask a grown-up of the things that you're allowed to use at your house. So let's review really quickly. We were talking about shapes today, and there's lots of different kinds of shapes, okay, that we learn about in the art room, and there are 3 groups. Now, I only used 2 of the groups today. I used geometric shapes and I used freeform shapes, but there's a 3rd group that I teach you about in the art room, and those are organic shapes, and those are shapes from nature, okay? So I have some shapes right here, okay? So just say this out loud. What is this? Okay? So this would be a shape from nature because it's a flower, right? Okay? So this goes into the organic group of shapes. What do we have here? Okay? Hopefully you said circle. And a circle goes into the geometric shape group because it has a name that we know. Okay? And then our 3rd group is freeform. These are shapes that we don't know what they are. They're just from our imaginations, okay? So I'm going to hold up some other shapes. And remember, I want you to say not the name of the shape, but what group does it belong to, okay? So the groups are, that you can choose from, organic, which are shapes from nature, okay? Geometric, which are shapes that you've been learning about since kindergarten, okay, circles, squares, triangles, rectangles, or the 3rd group, which is freeform, and those are shapes that we don't know the name of them. They're just shapes from our imaginations. Okay, so I'm going to hold up a picture, and I want you to tell me what group does this shape belong in. So this is a butterfly, so this should belong in the, did you say it? Organic group. Okay, this is coming from nature. Okay, this is a shape that we don't know. It's from our imagination. This is a free-form shape. It goes in the free-form group. So this is a rectangle. It has a specific name. This goes in our geometric group. Good. Okay, what group does this belong in? This is a fishy. It belongs in the organic group because it comes from nature. Good. What group does this belong to? Freeform. We don't know what the name of this shape is because it's just from our imagination. And one last one. This is an oval. It belongs in our geometric group. Good job. Okay, so another thing to think about is, so we have our elements of art. We have shape and we have form, also another element of art. So just remember that forms are our 3-dimensional parts of the shape, okay? So for example, this is 2 dimensions. It's flat. It's a circle. Okay, but its counterpart would be a sphere, right? So this is a form. This is not flat. So this is 3D. This is three-dimensional, not flat. This is two-dimensional, it's flat. Okay, so they are different. Today we were talking about flat shapes that Henri Matisse used to make his artwork. Let's do one more. So we have a rectangle, which is flat, and then we have this shape or form, which is not flat, right? And you should know all of your forms. Rectangular prism, whoa, cone, pyramid, okay, and cylinder. So these are not flat, these are forms. All right, boys and girls, good job, and make sure you send me images of what you make. I'd love to see your artwork. Have fun.